Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. This is my road test over 5,000 miles of the Michelin Road 5 Sport Touring tyre. To give you some context, these have been used for everything from winter commutes to, believe it or not, summer track days, and are currently sitting on my 2014 Honda Nc750x DCT. So without further ado, let's get into it. So first things first, what are they? These are a premium sport touring tyre and they succeed the Pilot Road 4. They're a dual compound construction where you've got silica in the middle with carbon black edges. The silica gives great warm up and wet grip, where the carbon black gives excellent overall grip, particularly in warmer conditions. Compared to the Pilot Road 4, the tread pattern has got new sipes. These get thicker as they wear, which means apparently, according to Michelin, a half-worn Pilot Road 5 gives more wet grip than a new Road 4. On the Road 5, those carbon black edges I was talking about on the rear are nearly completely slick. They even have inverted wear dimples so you can monitor depth and wear. You know, Michelin say that it's highly unlikely that anybody leans that far in the wet. So they've made that part of the tyre focused more on dry grip. It's worth also noting that the Road 6 that supersedes the Road 5 has tread much further towards the edge, so should be even better in the wet. So I suppose the main question is, how do they ride? As I've said previously, these are aimed more at the sport touring side of the market. So bikes, well, like my NC that you can see here, and my VFR 800, any bikes where you're going to be riding in mixed conditions, in the rain, wet, sunny, dry. They're just a brilliant all-rounder. They warm up quicker than any tyre I've ever used. They give grip and feedback from pretty much the first corner in wet or dry conditions. Now, previous tyres I've used, including the Pilot Road 4, the Angel ST and GT from Pirelli, and the Bridgestone T31, I've always needed a mile or so before the slightly wooden feeling disappears. The Michelins have this almost voodoo way of giving you what you need straight away. Now, as I said, I've been running these on a Honda Nc750x DCT for the last 5,000 or so miles, and in that time I've used them for everything, from cold, wet winter commutes to sunny track days. During that time, they've handled everything I could throw at them. And yes, you did hear right. I said track day and Nc750X in the same sentence. I took it to a gloriously sunny day at Liddon Hill Racetrack in Kent. I must say, whilst lining up at the start, I really did wonder what I was getting myself into. I needn't have worried. I must add that the Nc750 has, I've just checked those figures, 54 horsepower and weighs nearly 230 kilos. So there was no way I was going to be setting any lap records. What they did do though is offer the ability to ride at 100% straight out of the gate. No warm up or warmers required. The front didn't activate the ABS once, and the profile allowed that heavy NC to flick from left to right and hold a line with ease. The rear is all you could ever really need on a bike like this. In truth, the grip completely overwhelmed the ground clearance available, to the point where, despite hanging off like a gibbon, I still managed to ground out pegs, boots, exhaust and centre stand. These tyres survived the 7 15-minute sessions and showed absolutely no signs of overheating. For this bike, on this day, they performed flawlessly. Back on the road, and the grip, in the wet particular, has been pretty much faultless. I don't know quite how they've done it, but Michelin have created a tyre you can ride in the wet as if it was dry. Despite the fact they've got nearly 5,000 miles on them, they're only really halfway worn at the moment, with the front seems to be wearing pretty much the same speed as the rear. So I'd expect on a bike like this, it might not have much power, but it is quite heavy, so I'd say you can expect roughly 10,000 miles from a middleweight motorcycle. Now, are there any downsides to these tyres? Honestly, not many. Yes, they are still quite expensive, though I would argue that at present they really are the Goldilocks tyre in Michelin's range. They're cheaper than the newly released Road 6 and are still a greatly improved tyre over their predecessor, the Pilot Road 4. I would argue that they are a lot better than the Pilot Road 4 than they are worse than the Road 6, if that makes any sense. The Road 6 appears to be more of an evolution than a revolution. One other downside is that I've seen enough reports of these being puncture magnets on the internet, and to be honest, I believe them. My own experience with the Pilot Road 4 and this Road 5 echo this. Michelin seem to use a very soft carcass, and you combine this with those deep sipes and you do end up with a tyre that just seems to be a little bit more puncture prone than the others. So, to conclusion, it really is difficult to do anything other than wholeheartedly recommend these tyres. They've been absolutely brilliant in all areas, even when used in ways that Michelin don't particularly recommend. They've been absolutely spot on. They really are the first sports touring tyre that I think genuinely blurs the lines between sports tyres like the Pirelli Diablo Rosso. I'd go so far to say that they sit perilously close to Michelin's own Power 5 sports tyre, only the Road 5 just seems to cover more bases. I'd love to hear from anybody else watching this video and what they think about these tyres and your own experiences of them. So until next time, Short Bloke signing off. Toodles!